Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, I'll be breaking down another big storm that'll be coming to the United States this weekend, and another one that'll be coming to the country early next week. These storms will both cause a variety of problems. This includes the threat of severe weather, the threat for some flooding, in addition to a large cool down for parts of the country. I'll be giving you the latest breakdown on everything that you need to know in this forecast. And let's begin first with what's happening right now in the United States today. Then we'll talk more about those two large storms next week, and we will begin with the Northeast and the Ohio Valley. This has been quite an interesting area over the last 48 hours. We've had two different storms actually in this area, one of which was primarily over the Midwest. That was bringing some heavy snowfall to areas near Chicago, back into Wisconsin and Michigan. Areas in the upper Michigan Peninsula saw as much as 3 feet of snow from this particular snow event that we had. So a lot of snow fell in those areas. If you saw snow, let me know in the comments down below. And also, we even saw some snow flurries earlier today back over in areas like Ohio and Indiana. Overall, very minimal activity. But if you're over in those areas and you saw snow, let me as well know down in the comments below if you saw any snow there. Back over in the Northeast, though, we had a completely different event, and this was a winter storm that really brought significant snowfall, upwards of 12 to 24 inches of snow for many areas in New England. There are a lot of power outages right now across New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont, where we saw the most significant snowfall. The only good news for you is that the solar eclipse is on Monday, so at least you have something to look forward to. But with that being said, there's a lot of snow on the ground and also power outages. Hopefully the power gets restored here pretty soon in those areas, as New Hampshire has like 30% without power right now. It's pretty crazy stuff there. For the remainder of the country, it's pretty nice. The Great Plains and as well as down in the Southeast, all fairly dry right now. Infrared imagery showing little to no cloud cover, so get outdoors today. It's going to be a fantastic day for most of the country. The only exception to this would be over on the West Coast, where we are watching for a new storm that's right now just off the coast of California. And by the way, the West Coast has been awfully active the last several months. And I do want to mention that this particular storm will be entering into the United States, and it will bring the threat for some severe weather as we go into Saturday. And we'll be talking more about that here in just a moment. Before we talk about that, I do want to give you an idea of the weather pattern that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 to 10 days, and why I think next week we'll have a very active weather pattern with multiple chances for storms across parts of the country, especially back down in the southern tier of the United States. And to look at all of this, we're going to look at the jet stream. This gives us an idea of the weather patterns that are happening across the United States. And as of right now, we do have a large scale low pressure system back over in the Northeast that's bringing some heavy snowfall still to areas back over in the Northeast, but a lot of that should be moving out later today into tomorrow. With that being said, we do have a ridge that is currently building here across the southern plains, and this will keep many areas drier and warmer for the next couple of days, but that will not last too long because we'll have a low pressure system coming out of California and as well as the Pacific Ocean, and this will eventually move into the central plains as we go into late Saturday night. And though this will be a negatively tilted trough with actually some pretty strong jet stream winds down in the southern plains, this looks like it could be a large-scale severe weather outbreak, but we're not really going to see that. And there's many reasons why that I'll show you here in a few minutes, but the big problem is that this low pressure system in particular is not going to pull out a whole lot of moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico, and we're not going to really have a whole lot of instability. So there are some problems with the severe weather threat on Saturday. With that said, there will be a threat for severe weather Saturday, but it looks like it's going to be a low threat overall. By the time we go into Sunday, this moves further to the north, but overall it's going to kind of weaken out as it moves further to the north. We'll see some showers, maybe some storms in the Midwest, but I'm not expecting much in terms of severe weather. But once we go into Monday into Tuesday, things get awfully interesting. Reason why is because we're going to have another low pressure system over the Rocky Mountains develop even further down to the south, and since this one's going to be further south, it will not have much of a problem getting a lot of moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico, and there should overall be more instability available for there to be a greater risk for severe weather as we go into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. And this is Tuesday, so again, notice that low pressure system over the four corner states. One other thing I do want to point out is that there will be at least some high pressure down in Florida, so many areas across the East Coast will be relatively dry for the beginning of next week, which is good news if you want to watch the solar eclipse, because areas like northern New England are going to have a lot of sunshine for that. Once we go into late Tuesday into Wednesday, this storm moves across the southern plains, and that is when I'm expecting severe weather to really ramp up. By the time we get closer to Friday into Saturday, this low pressure system races into Canada, and we are done with that particular storm. But it's going to get very interesting as we go into early next week. With that being said, we still have another storm that we have to deal with this weekend that will at least bring a low risk for severe weather. As of right now, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a marginal threat of severe weather, and this includes areas like Nebraska, Kansas, and as well as Oklahoma. Overall, this is a low risk of severe weather. This is only a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, so really the lowest risk of severe weather that we can have. With that being said, there will be a chance for some damaging winds, large hail, and perhaps an isolated tornado or two. With all this being said, we may be going live for this on Saturday if there's some sort of risk upgrade, so make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. But something that's more concerning that almost will definitely need a live stream next week will be going into Monday and Tuesday. The Storm Prediction Center has issued 2 different slight risks of severe weather across the southern plains and the lower Mississippi Valley. Notice they already have a slight risk across areas like Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. Crazy enough, if you're in this area, you actually could be able to intercept a tornado and a solar eclipse both in the same day. That's kind of crazy to think, by the way. We're going to have both chances as we go into Monday. Once we go into Tuesday, we have another slight risk of severe weather, and you might be thinking this is just a copy and paste. Well, it pretty much is, because we're going to be watching the same area 2 days in a row for the chance for severe weather, perhaps even a little bit of significant severe weather, and this is going to be in the same 4 states and almost in the same exact area. It does shift slightly further down to the south as we go into Tuesday. Main concern for both days will be damaging winds, large hail, and a threat for a couple of tornadoes. Now, as I mentioned, there is a problem with Saturday's severe weather setup, and that is the moisture. Look at the dew points Saturday afternoon. It is not impressive. We're talking about dew points in the low to mid 50s. That's only going to be supportive of really isolated to widely scattered severe weather. I'm overall not too concerned about this. If we have a cap eroding back down in like North Texas, for example, I wouldn't rule out some sort of more elevated risk for severe weather, but it's a bit of a stretch of the imagination. Instability overall for Saturday as well is going to be a problem. Notice again, instability value is quite low, but if we go into like Sunday into Monday, notice the dew points really skyrocket across Texas and as well as Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and that's why there's a greater risk for severe weather overall. We're gonna have a lot more buoyancy and moisture in the environment, and that's going to promote more of a risk for severe weather. And same thing with instability. We'll have more instability for sure Monday evening into Tuesday, and this should allow for perhaps a bit more of a significant severe weather event in some areas. One other thing that we can look at is the low-level jet. This gives us an idea of rotation that could be present in the lower levels, and we are going to have some strong we're going to have a very strong low-level jet overall across the Great Plains. Another problem though is that this is going to be more of a southerly flow. What we really need for more significant tornado risks is a southwesterly flow. Southerly flow is not a huge problem, but in this case it's just not going to be great in terms of a tornado risk. With that being said, I'm not really expecting a significant tornado event, and as well as we go into Monday into Tuesday, there might be a better shot down in the southern plains as that secondary low pressure system develops. But as of right now, I do think damaging winds will be the main concern, with maybe an isolated tornado risk for both Monday and Tuesday. This could always change though, so just make sure you're subscribed to the channel and we will keep you posted with the latest. Here's the future radar for the next several days. Again, dry across most of the country through Saturday morning. Low pressure system will intensify as we go into late Saturday. Notice a strong low pressure system, by the way, at 986 millibars. Showers and thunderstorms will be possible across the central plains. I don't think Texas will be getting much storm activity, maybe an isolated storm or two, but the severe weather threat should stay very low. Once we go into Sunday into Monday, this moves into the Midwest with some showers and maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder. By the time we go into Monday, that second low pressure system develops, and this will be bringing the chance for heavy rainfall that could lead to some flooding. In addition to that, we will have the threat for severe weather. And once we go into Tuesday, more showers and storms there across the southern plains and the lower Mississippi Valley. This all moves into the Dixie Alley by Wednesday, and by Thursday, more showers and storms will be possible. There could be a severe weather risk in the Ohio Valley as we go into Thursday evening, but it remains very uncertain as we are still several days out from this particular event. And once we go into Friday into Saturday, this moves to the northeast, and this one should not be bringing a winter storm to areas in the northeast. Last thing I did want to talk about is the solar eclipse. This is the latest forecast in terms of cloud cover going into Monday. Notice this red shaded area. This is all where we'll be seeing the total solar eclipse, which I highly recommend you go to that area instead of trying to watch a partial solar eclipse. It's a completely different story. 99% totality is not good enough. You need to go to the 100% area that's in this dashed area and as well as in the red shaded area. But with that being said, a lot of cloud cover still expected in Texas. There will probably be at least a mix of sun and clouds on Monday, but it still remains uncertain. Go further to the north across areas like Indiana and Illinois, better chance there for more mostly sunny skies, so there shouldn't be nearly as much cloud cover. And northern New England, definitely gonna have the best forecast with little to no cloud cover expected. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already.